got to say that scouting has been one of the biggest influences in the growth of my leadership ability than anything else, for sure. And I think, it's kind of attributed to all of our scoutmasters. They've all been a huge help to me and kind of an inspiration of leadership to me, along with, my fellow scouts that I've learned with the whole time. So I think that's one thing that I wouldn't have necessarily learned, at least not learned as quickly outside of scouting, is that just how to be a leader, how to lead your peers effectively and morally too. You can apply the scout law to pretty much any aspect of your life, especially leadership. As I say, it's a great guideline to kind of put into that mixture. So yeah, that's definitely something I don't think I would have. I think I would have learned it still. I'm passionate. I love leadership, but I don't think I would have learned it half as quickly as I did without scouting.
One thing that I learned, I think, especially in scouting from Mr. Weber, was how to lead, how to be a leader among a group of people. And I really had to start that early, because as soon as I was in the troop, I got thrown in leadership position over all of the younger boys. And I pretty much stayed that way, either as a patrol leader, troop guide, instructor, pretty much throughout my entire time there. And Mr. Weber really helped me to get used to leading people and getting people where they needed to be. And that was a real help, considering I wanted to go into politics and leadership. And so he really helped me build those values and those skills that I'll need.
He's a very driven individual, and basically, I don't know, he does a good job getting us scouts to like work for our goals. He's really good at like setting a goal and encouraging us to attain it and stuff.
One word to describe Mr. Weber: he's a leader. Just plain and simple. He was born to lead.
One word that I would use to describe Mr. Weber is driven. Definitely a driven individual, though runner-up would probably be energetic. I can't remember how many times I got up to teach about a topic and finished early just because I had covered all the material and that was what I was supposed to do, and he could get up there and go back and forth across the teaching area. He could speak so well and keep the attention of the audience on any subject, and that was just an amazing thing to watch him do, and at times just unbelievable that he could take something that I could hold up there for 2 seconds, say, oh, I'm done with this, and just go back up there and bring a whole new lesson out of it. And I think that sort of embodies his spirit, is just being able to teach and show things and to see things that the rest of us miss.
What's one word I would use to describe Mr. Weber? Actually, 2 words: Chuck Norris. I don't know. I don't think you can really narrow it down to one word, but maybe one sentence perhaps. The sentence would be something like caring, maybe tough love. That would be probably a good word for it. Tough love. Emphasis on the tough.
When we went on the Edmond historical hike it was in downtown Edmond, and it was in the middle of the summer in July, and it was so hot. And at the end of the day, it was about 2 hours, Mr. Weber just started asking everybody what their favorite part was. And when he got to me, I just thought I'd be different and say that my favorite part was the searing heat and the blinding sunshine. Then Mr. Weber got all excited and screamed, "That's what I'm talking about!" And that was it just cracked me up.
We're all in the sand dunes playing football and everything, and he just walks off into the dunes and just hikes away, and we don't see him again for like 3 hours. And we're just watching him walk away across the dunes. And he finally comes back. He's like, "Yeah, I just went to the top of the dunes and everything. You guys missed a lot." I'm just like, "Oh, you just went off by yourself to the top of a sand dune, okay."
And this is the Wichita camp out that every scout remembers, the horrible You know, it was supposed to be a 5-mile hike, but it ended up being like 10, and it started to rain, and it was just like sleeting. It was the coldest hike ever, and all the older kids had to backpack, and that was probably like their first time backpacking, and it was a horrible experience. And pretty much anyone who went on that could tell you that it was just totally not worth it at all. But one of the funny things was about Austin Birmingham was there then, and the meal we ate before, we were still at camp, and Austin Birmingham was cooking some dried chili like in this bag, and you had to boil water. And Austin Birmingham was boiling the water, and the water was boiled, and then he was having trouble getting the boiling water into that bag so he could cook the chili. And of course, if anyone who knows my dad, he's Mr. You know, I know how to do everything right. You know, if you're not going to do it the good way, don't do it at all. Let me do it. So he kind of like walked up to Austin and was like, "Here, let me handle this for you." And I actually remember this very clearly. I don't know if anyone else does, but he spilled the boiling water all over the place. It pretty much went everywhere except in the bag. And we actually had to wait like I don't know how long it was, but we actually had to wait for Austin to eat his food because my dad spilled the water, and everyone else was finished, but Austin still hasn't eaten yet. So we had to wait before we could go backpacking until, thanks to my dad, honestly.
Mr. Weber, while I was senior patrol leader, yeah, I just feel like he really taught me personally a lot about what it is to lead a group of people. And you know, if I had one word I could use to describe Mr. Weber, I would say that he's a leader above all else. That he really led me personally and allowed me to lead the rest of the troop without really micromanaging what I was doing and everything like that, and played a really great kind of supporting role to me as senior patrol leader, and really kind of set me up for success, I would say. You know, along with the people that I had working with me at the time. So I would say, yeah, he really influenced that portion of my scouting kind of journey as senior patrol leader. I would definitely say that.
I think I've really learned how to take initiative and, you know, just use the skills that I have to get things done. Because I mean, a lot of times, you know, it's just the only thing that you have to do to get something done is just get up and start doing stuff. You know, it's not, I mean, and you know, like leadership's a big part of that too. If you take an initiative to get people going in the right direction, that can really help a lot. And that's something that I don't think I would have learned if I hadn't been in Scouts.
Something I learned from Scouts, especially from Mr. Weber, was probably leadership. I mean, I was in leadership for at least 3 years, and I only have a 6-year service start, so that's like half my time. And 2 years was practically as SPL, so that's a lot. And I don't know, he just gave me a lot of what I know.
You know, whenever I was younger, I didn't really like this about my dad, but he's very hard on everyone. And you know, my dad, if you don't know my dad, it's kind of hard to, it's really hard to understand him and how he approaches everything in his life. And he's very do it right the first time. You know, don't make me ask again. Just, if you're gonna do it to your best, your fullest, and do your best job all the time, no matter what it is, no matter how little it is or how big it is. And you know, whenever I was younger, I never really got that, and it was one of the things that irritated me the most. And but now that I'm a little bit older, and I've lived with my dad long enough finally, after, you know, 18 years of living with him. But you know, now I realize that, you know, that's what makes people different in this world, are people who are willing to work hard and do things right to their fullest all the time. And that's something that I really like about my dad now, and I'm so grateful that he's been so hard on me.
yeah, he's definitely been a great example to all of us, I think, about how a lot of leadership qualities and how leaders should act and should interact with the people that they're leading and the people they have charge over. I think he's just been a great example to all of us.
I just really appreciate Mr. Weber, and he's been a great man in my life and has been a great example to me of leadership and dedication. And I just really appreciate all he's done for our troop and everything that he's meant to me over the years. If I could describe him in a word, it would probably be involved, because as you can tell by our troop, we've had so many boys reach Eagle, and that's a statement that speaks to the dedication of our parents and our families and each other, but also to the Scoutmaster. And Mr. Weber has been instrumental in all of us making Eagle and just accomplishing our goals, and I really appreciate the way he's been with that.
Thank you for being the troop powerhouse for the last at least 6 years and getting on the people when they needed it, like Quentin, and for keeping us organized, taking us places.
I'd just like to thank you, Mr. Weber, for everything you've done, for all of the effort and the time that you put into everything from the website to getting us to get things organized, and how you transitioned it into boys leading, but still did a good job overseeing, I guess, without being too involved.
Getting us motivated.
Yeah, and motivating and stuff, and it was really awesome. And like I said, the way you just made Eagle seem attainable rather than just so incredibly difficult. So it was awesome, and thank you very much for everything you've done.
Mr. Weber, I'd just like to thank you for making my experience in scouting a whole lot of fun. You taught me a lot, and you're just great to be around. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Weber.
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 Thanks, Mr. Weber.
Thank you very much, Mr. Weber.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you, Mr. Weber.
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 Thank you, Mr. Weber.